Hello, folks. Hello, and welcome to Monday afternoon, early evening Techthusiasm Live Podcast, Monday, June 30th. I didn't actually have a whole lot to talk about today, but I did do the Apple TV updates, the tvOS 26 developer updates. I think we're on beta like 2 or 3 now. Not public beta, but developer beta. And I went ahead and just updated both of my Apple TVs. So I figured, hey, let's take a look at some of the things that are in and around the new Apple tvOS. Just catch up a little bit, chat, take some questions, and that sort of thing. And yeah, we'll keep it to an hour or just under an hour. Yeah, not a lot of tech happened here in the last week. We were gone, really the bulk of at least half, if not a little more than the bulk of the last week, over on the west side of Michigan, Grand Haven, Michigan. If you're coming into Michigan to vacation, definitely recommend the west side of the state, northwest side of the state. Sand dunes, beaches, freshwater, Lake Michigan, really nice beachy summer vacation type towns. Lots of good food and all that to be had. So we were out there the last 3-4ish days. Got back later last night, and then back to work today. But my daughter was playing soccer in the nationwide beach soccer tournament series. She's done this now the last few years. I put a couple of posts 2 years ago. Actually, we did an adult team. Kind of had our butts handed to us. An over 30, over 40 team competing with 20-year-olds didn't work out very well. Didn't play this year, but she did. But it was fun. They did really well. Really, really strong Saturday. They won their bracket, and then they lost they got beat up pretty good in the finals game. But yeah, we had some good time at the beach. Awesome weather, 70 degrees, 75 degrees, and sunny. Got burnt. I'm looking noticeably more red, certainly on some parts of the body, more than others. Yeah, we had a really, really nice rental home, Airbnb that we got for the weekend. My parents were with us, so some good family time and good time with some friends. She got to play with some older prior teammates of hers that she doesn't actively play with, so got to see and hang out with them for the weekend. So always a good time there. Hope we can continue to do that tournament every year. It's always a good time. But again, because of that, I basically wasn't here much of the bulk of the time since last Monday. So really no tech action, no tech action going on. The theater sat. We haven't watched a movie in this past week. Actually, no real video content consumption at all, and I wasn't able to find any time to get down here to put in the UPS or any of that. So my next plans, my next phases, next things to do in the home theater pretty much all remains the same. My next steps in there. We're getting into July, so I am hoping to get in touch with the one construction handyman that I had made some contact with about the living room rebuild. Actually, I did send him kind of a summary of what we had talked about, summary of what I need in terms of the project to be done, and some pictures and stuff of our wall and the details about what we're trying to do, get the speakers in, make room for the bigger TV and that sort of thing up there. Hadn't got a reply though. I hope I'm not being ghosted. But he said he would be available into July. I think he might be out of town and stuff right now. So with any luck, we'll get that all lined up and have some cool, more setup content coming. Get the utopias going in there, sell some of the old gear and all those sorts of things. So that's all coming in the coming weeks. I also can confirm I will be at Audio Advice Live, so my travel's booked. Everything is confirmed for that now. I'll be there actually for the duration of the show, including some of the press activity that they have going on pre-show. I'm not sure if what new interesting stuff may be announced there. It's kind of become a thing. I think that at least some new speaker announcements, some new product announcements and whatnot tend to kind of come out of Audio Advice Live. But yeah, it's first weekend of August. So if you'll be there, take a look for me. I think there'll be a bunch of other home theater content creators there. Some of the folks that are kind of partners and affiliates and whatnot with Audio Advice, and maybe some others that are not as well. But obviously, lots of brands will be there. A a lot of the key home theater brands. JVC will be showing stuff off. Sony. I think Epson will actually be there with some new stuff as well, maybe. All the speaker brands, Kaleidescape's there, Mad VR's there, Trinoff, Anthem, et cetera. So there'll be multiple home theaters, I presume. Again, I believe the show is a similar format to prior years, but we'll see what they do to kind of evolve and add to and grow it. It's been fun the last couple of years, and it's gotten better every time. So we'll see what's in store for this time. I haven't booked my travel for CEDIA. That's something I need to look at. I think registrations for CEDIA are open now, but I haven't actually taken the action to get connected or get set up to do CEDIA yet. So it's on my list of to-dos and list of plans, but we'll see. But in any case, at least at a minimum, having done the Florida audio show, which was pretty cool, got to meet and interact with a variety of folks there. Audio Device Live will be the next one. If those are the only two events that I actually do this year, I'll be pretty happy with that. So we'll see how it shakes out. So sound off. Let me know who's out there. Say hello. I got a comment here from Mars. Hey, Jeremy, hope you're doing good. Thanks for everything you do. Videos informative and entertaining. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. So what I was thinking to do here for today was just kind of poke around a little bit on and into tvOS 26. So let me actually grab my Apple TV remote. We are down here in the theater. I did update both of my Apple TVs a little bit earlier. So we don't have to wait for the actual update to be applied. I don't know why initially I wasn't getting, first time I wasn't getting the choice to do the developer beta for tvOS, even though I was getting it on my other devices. But I don't know if something changed. I logged into my Apple account, my developer account today. I don't know if that refreshed something or whatnot, but when I did the beta check, I was actually able to install this. So I'm going to try this. I hope we don't drop anything out. I actually don't have the multi-camera set up for StreamYard. Is ridiculously expensive. So what I'm going to try to do here is switch the cameras midstream. There we go. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure that everybody can hear me. We should still be good to go. But we're looking at the theater screen here off of my iPhone camera, the continuity camera thing. And again, we're already updated. So I can say right away that I did find there to be some difference. There's a noticeable sheen, I guess you could say, to the icons. That's the new kind of the glossy look that they have. And I think it looks good. I think it actually, in this interface, in this UI for sure, I want to make sure we don't get too much video stuff going on here. Also make sure, let's go ahead and mute the audio signal as well. We're getting, if we get some disparate zooms and other things like that, that's just the Apple kind of camera doing its thing. To show off the beta update though, let's go over here. We'll go over, oops, I don't want to go in here. Sorry. One too many. This is another app that I actually plan to do a little bit of a video about surround speaker check. It's pretty cool. I've had this on here as a little utility for a while. I've been meaning to make an app showcase video for that, but I haven't been able to do it yet. In any case, we go into settings. We go down here to system. We go to software updates, and we can see that this Apple TV is enrolled in the tvOS 26 developer beta. Last check was a little earlier today. Just did a check on all of them. tvOS 26 version 23J 5295E, and we do have here beta updates enabled, and I will leave the automatic updates on as well, so that when these come, we definitely want to get these developer betas updates right away, because at this point there's probably some instabilities, or definitely some concerns about stabilities. So let's see what's new. What's new isn't really showing us anything useful. Thought that might show us some of the tvOS 26 tvOS 26 stuff, but it doesn't look like it. So let's do the big thing, the check, I guess, for what everybody's most interested in. You comment here. There's a new update for beta software that literally came out today. Hopefully it came out. Well, here, let's see. Hopefully it came out already. So this is developer beta 3 then. If there was another one today. So we do a quick update software check. No, we're up to date with the latest one. So this must be then, if there was one today, this is beta 3. Does the new update work with Control 4? Well, I can try that. So I have both. I'm using the Apple TV remote right now, and we're good. We're good to go. So this is the Control 4 Halo controlling the Apple TV. That's working fine. And this is the Apple TV remote controlling the Apple TV. So working fine. Up, down, left, right was all working. Enter works. So a lot of times that is a common theme that I've noticed with some of these. That is a common theme that I've noticed with some of these Apple TV updates is they do very frequently break Control 4 control. A lot of times it's not broken. It's like the connection gets interrupted. And so what you ultimately have to do is you have to go into the Control 4 app and then like reestablish Apple Control. And then that does some stuff basically through Apple Home, and then it reconnects it without a problem. It's a pain. It definitely happened frequently, even over this last year of like the tvOS 18. But so cool that this one didn't seem to do that. My suspicion is that we're not going to find anything about bit streaming in here. If we look at the audio and video settings, my gut feel is that that stuff's not in here yet. So in terms of settings, it actually reset some of my video. Actually, no, it doesn't show my. Okay, no, we're running the 24 hertz. So I don't run. I'd say I run some non-standard Apple TV audio video settings because again we're in the theater, the projector, the lens, the Mad VR, and all of that. So I generally run my Apple TV at 4K HDR by default at 23.976, so that it's a perfect frame rate sync for generally the content that we watch down here. Trying to get zero HDMI black screens going. Chroma 422, it's fine because we're going through the Mad VR match content. No different changes here. All this stuff is turned on. So it didn't actually change anything with regards to my video settings and whatnot. So audio output set to TV speakers. And if we look in here, at least, do we see anything? There's no indication. There's no indication of any type of bitstream. If we change to, this is what you don't want to do. So maybe when the bit streaming stuff or the pass-through output comes, this setting may change or some other setting may be added. I would suspect to see it in this screen. But are you sure you want to change the audio format? This will reduce audio quality and disable Dolby Atmos. So what that means, if I recall correctly, is that if you turn change format on, you're going to get bitstream output, but I think you get like lossy Dolby digital encoding of whatever the audio signal was. So it does a encoding on the fly, and then obviously that does not support the Dolby Atmos codec itself, so you lose that, and then of course you're actually losing quality because the leaving it off gives you basically the LPCM or the Dolby Mat output. You're getting the full quality of whatever was being played without a lossy re-encoding or degradation of it. So it doesn't look like we're finding anything here with regards to pass-through. And again, I suspect that that's going to be something much more later for the future. I think my best source of info, or one of the best sources of info I would probably look at to see when and if something interesting happens on the pass-through format will actually be like looking at the infuse forums. There had already been a thread about it. I haven't looked at it since basically WWDC to see what the discussion is. I should probably check in on it, see if there's anything interesting said in that thread. But I haven't checked in on it in a while. So, but I think whenever something may come available in the developer kit, the infuse devs are ones that I would trust to kind of really be on the ball and do something interesting with it. Oop, I want to go in there. Let's see. So if we go into screensavers, current selections, aerials, I don't know if there's a way, just trying to see if we have, yeah, choose aerials. India was the new one that was added. These are not loading. Yeah, oh well, just trying to see if there was a way to kind of validate that the new screensavers were included. Maybe that's even coming in a later one. All right, but if we look through this, like again, I think it looks pretty good. I don't think it really matters that much, to be honest, but for what we have, I think it is. I think it does present very nicely. I think it's silly that we got blurry video. Let's do. There we go. Right. So we're back online. So I'm very surprised. It's so lame that these are still hanging around here. The movies and TV show apps. They really literally do nothing. They basically tell you to go to this, except you do have access to your wish list. I don't even know what I keep in my wish list anymore. Looks like I even had some movies. Oh, that just took a minute to load. Yeah, this stuff is so like irrelevant probably to what I would buy. Even some movies in here from when my kids were younger. I don't really use the Apple wish list feature. I don't think they even necessarily respect the fact that they have a wish list feature. Wish lists are awesome in Kaleidescape, but they don't do a whole lot in the Apple ecosystem. So yeah, these stupid apps are still hanging around. Stupid, I say, because they're just cruft that should be cleaned out, and the TV shows is going to do the same thing. So yeah, these really need to get removed. But the windowing looks nice. Again, it's a small upgrade. So let's take a look actually. But the only other thing I think that might be of any major interest is what do the posters look like? I believe that stuff is all live in here. So if we kind of go down, so the continue watching is still a bit of a thumbnail, but down here now we have posters to view. So I do like this. I think this is a superior way to present this content. And ideally, we go to the library. This is really where, yes, that's great. We've been wanting posters for a long time. Been on my wish list for a long time. So now we can actually see more. So what is this? 3, 6 per row, 12, almost 18 posters in view. They're almost 24. I suspect that the navigation is no different. Let's see if we click on something. Yep, it doesn't actually take us to the. That's one of the other things that I've been asking for a long time. So if we long press and hold, we can go to movie. I really wish that there was a setting to be able to do this, because this is where I want to go when I click on a movie rather than having it play, because more often than not, we kind of want to come in and see some details about what's happening with a given film and whatnot. So this looks kind of, we're going, there we go, going blurry again. Not sure why that keeps going blurry. This looks a little optimized. It looks like this is maybe updated a little bit as well. I think definitely like the color and the way that the art, let's go back up to the top there. The art kind of flows down. It's interesting that the art fades away. Honestly, I don't fully remember what this screen looked like before these changes. I think this is definitely like, it's like a cleaner view. Glad that we still have the badges, 4K, HDR10, etc. Still have access to things like Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot. We can add things to lists. We can, that's interesting. I would basically just get a pop-up of the same thing. That's to the watch list, which would put it on the watch list of the top bar of the home, the what's new section, or the main section of the app there. So we still can see the trailers. We can see related details on iTunes extras. We can jump to the same content in other apps. We can see our cast and crew and see other things that actor, actress, etc., director, or whatnot may have been involved with. We can see bundle information and then more details about the item down here. If we go into, we don't get to read the Common Sense Media text, nor probably, that doesn't even actually open anything. So just high-level information from Common Sense and Rotten Tomatoes, but that's fine. Better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, Norm's saying, I wish they would tell you the aspect ratio of the movie. Sorry that we're getting. Is there a way to turn off the? There we go. Might just have to throw my hand in front of there every once in a while. But this is cool. Now the problem is if we go to TV shows, what are they doing for TV shows? Now they got to fix this the other way. So in the past, in prior to tvOS 26, when we had the thumbnails, not every movie actually had a thumbnail. So you would have you'd have the thumbnail and you'd have the movie poster in the middle of the thumbnail, which looked really goofy. Now we have the opposite problem where not every TV show, TV series has a poster. Some of them only have the thumbnails. This actually looks better though, I think, right off the bat. Let's see. Sorry, again, we can get this. Keep losing our connection here. There we go. Gotta keep an eye on that closer. This actually looks better to me though, to have the square rounded edge TV thumbnail inside of a movie poster kind of view. At least the edges match up a little bit more, and it looks like they are using like the color scheme. They're projecting the color scheme, which makes it at least feel a little bit more natural. So this is definitely an improvement. Looks like quite a few, at least of the content that I have in my library, don't actually have posters. So GI Joe, that one actually is kind of nice. Instead of just being all black, it kind of gave it that little white highlight around the side. So this is okay. I thought it looked really kludgy putting the poster in the thumbnail, but having the thumbnail in the poster is better. Let's just double check as well. Let's see if there's a show where I know I have multiple seasons of it. Actually, I'm not sure if this is multiple, but let's just jump into one of these. Okay, I think this is all the same. So all the episodes across in the navigation there. Where is the show that I know I have content for multiple seasons? Come on, where is yeah, this one. All right, so here, okay, yeah, season 1, season 2. Okay, so we get the seasons at the top. I thought maybe they used to show these in a navigation going down. So there may be a couple of other minor navigational changes kind of going on here. Oop, why did we do that? Just want to go back to here. But this is nice. I think this is a net improvement. Again, I would still prefer to have the navigational option to choose kind of where we go or where we go when we click on a movie poster. But overall, it looks pretty good. Just looking for some comments. I think I already hit this one, Norm. Wish they'd tell the aspect ratio of the movie. Yeah, I mean, more technical information. I think most people watching this channel, I think by and large, all of us, we probably would like to see more technical information about the content, particularly there at the bottom. Like give us all the details. Whoops, not that one. You go hold it, long press, go to movie. These pop-up menus with some translucency and stuff do look really nice, I think. So a little second to load there. Yeah, down here at the bottom, all the technical details would be cool. I agree with that very much. Michael, hey Michael, welcome. Defaulting to an AirPlay zone is great. Yeah, I think that's a good feature as well. So there's some good stuff in tvOS 26. Just not a whole lot, not a whole lot more look at right now, I guess, other than this. Let me do a double check here. I'm missing something. If there's something about tvOS 26 that you're aware of that you'd like me to try to showcase, just go ahead and drop it in the comments. We got liquid glass. They call it easily access entertainment, redesigned with beautiful new poster art. So we took a look at that. Got the profile stuff. Didn't do it. We're not going to mess around with the karaoke things. I don't think there's anything we're going to do with FaceTime. New aerial screensavers. Designate the AirPlay speaker. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Just talking about the AirPlay stuff, though, we go back here. This is the new Sing app, I guess. I'm not going to play anything. Of course, I don't want any music to play or music to be a takedown problem or something like that. But so I presume if we played any of this stuff, we would be able to get the karaoke. Well, actually, it just took us to Apple Music, so that's interesting. So Sing is an option. Home, new, Sing, videos, radio. If I go back from here and I just go to music, yeah, that's actually really lame. Looking at this now, this is just Apple Music with one new line. Why would we clutter? Why would we clutter our UI to have the Sing app be its own thing? So we're going to get rid of this. We're going to move this into a folder. I like this navigation and stuff quite a bit. And we'll just leave that buried. I guess we'll just leave that buried on the second page for now. Man, what's going on with our camera? Keep going fuzzy. I don't know if it's a Wi-Fi thing. Of course, another letdown kind of Apple TV. How many apps actually support the home row? You think with all the new UI, the liquid glass stuff, and really wanting to improve this, they would really make more of a design standard requirement. Maybe it'll come. I doubt it, but on these apps to make everybody support the home row. So I've got 6 apps on my home row, and not even half of them support the thing. Max, so Netflix and Disney Plus. Actually, Disney Plus doesn't even do it. So, and the Apple TV does as well. Swipe up for full screen. See, well, that of course Apple takes advantage of their own stuff the most. But you can really see the liquid glass there. It's a little more visible to me in the room, I think, than away. But yeah, it's a bummer that the home row is kind of a bust. Same thing with, again, the app connectivity and the profiles and stuff like that. They really need to get on. These app makers, I think, and get them kind of consistently into following all the proper design standards and stuff. Michael's saying, do tvOS profiles connect into apps like Netflix or Disney Plus? No, not yet anyway. That's the thing that we really want, or that I would really want. Again, I want my profile so that when I launch Disney Plus, I don't want to have to go through ask Disney not to track. I don't want to have to go through this, right? Who's watching? I want to link a specific profile in every app to my Apple TV profile, and then when I switch those, it's good. It's good to go. You gonna sing for us? No, not likely. Let's come back to this question, actually. I want to make sure that I didn't leave these other comments behind as well. As we're talking here, let me switch cameras while we go through some of these questions. Mars 73 again. I've been debating on whether to continue growing my physical media or jump into Kaleidescape. Can't justify the pricing for it. Any recommendations on how to get my foot into Kaleidescape? Well, of course, there's the Strato E now, bringing the entry level of a fully functional Kaleidescape system down to $3K list price. So you do that basically, or you go used and don't worry about a server. Cycle your content. Strato E holds about 5 movies, a little less than 500 gigabytes of storage space. But at this point, um, yeah, I actually responded to an email today. Somebody sent me a question about ripping. They were thinking about getting started ripping, and it's like I can, in good conscience, for myself, for the way that I view things and what I like and the way that I do things. I can't recommend that anybody um, go down the road of starting a rip solution for their media. Like, not nowadays. Physical media is diminishing. Can't get it hardly get it at retail. You have to go online. It's niche. There's going to be more consolidation. The prices are higher. You got to go through all the ripping pains. You got to spend a decent chunk of change to get set up to do it anyway. Buy yourself a server, put some hard drives in it, get yourself a nice local media player. Um, if you buy and you do all that on the high end, you're over the price of an entry point to Kaleidescape nowadays anyway. Um, so skate to where the puck is going and go digital. Go online, go digital. There's just too many positives, in my opinion, that I've enjoyed for a long time since I've divested myself of physical media and been just Kaleidescape plus Apple TV. Henry saying, yeah, Henry, I think it was actually you, the one that I might have replied to. Same boat. Started exploring Z2 and NAS. Work involved steered me away. Yeah, there's so many pitfalls. I mean, versus the quality of life that you get out of Kaleidescape. I mean, if people have the time and the ability to ramp up and the technical know-how of like going through a disk and parsing a disk and getting all the right bits and pieces and working with the file formats and investigating subtitles and subtitle flags so that you don't miss stuff when you need it, because content doesn't just come off of a disk like ready to be dumped in a file and watched, unless you do a full ISO rip and then you're paying more storage space because you're keeping a bunch of things that maybe you don't want. ISO support has always been, let's say, not as optimal as if you go, or compatible, as universally compatible as if you go main movie into an MKV file. I think the newer players do it pretty well, but none of them have Blu-ray licenses, so they're all doing their menuing system on their own. There's just too many hassles and too many pitfalls for me, and I was spending more of my time doing that stuff than actually like enjoying content, watching movies, uh, and and finding like that kind of enjoyment out of it. So those were kind of some of the things that influenced me in my decisions when I now it's been several years now because I've been whatever 7 8 years into my Kaleidescape ownership, building up my library and using that, um, and not regularly building a server of ripped content. Just looking a couple of all access construction, big physical media guy. I've been thinking about K. And if anybody wants to have an individual conversation about it, do reach out. Right there, Jeremy at techthusiasm.net. Happy to take an offline call and we can talk through your system and talk through your setup and what you're thinking about doing. Always happy to give my advice, and full disclosure, of course, I am a dealer for the stuff as well. Quite a few brands and options, including Kaleidescape. So there's value to me in more people joining the Kaleidescape platform if you come through me. But as I've often said, I've been a happy Kaleidescape owner and platform user for several years. I've been a dealer for one. So I sell Kaleidescape because I really like it. I don't like Kaleidescape so much because I sell it. And that's true for me. There's a couple folks in the audience. It's definitely folks in the channel community in the audience um, that are friends in Kaleidescape converts. So Kaleidescape will be the best investment you make for any audio setup. Michael Lawless. I resisted K as long as I could, but I love it now that I have it. This digital is a huge benefit to switch over. Yeah, Michael and Joe actually are two guys that were definitely like either well started down or considering starting down the DIY ripping path, to two different levels of depth, and then decided to change their course and are very happy they did so. Like super case studies. I need to have both of you guys on a live stream and just kind of like tell your stories and debate media and content and stuff like that a little bit. Yeah, this is what people miss as well. Kaleidescape isn't a NAS replacement; it's an ecosystem. It's just so expensive for the hard drives and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but you're not just buying cold storage. You're buying into an entire ecosystem that everything works together. I thought there was a question on the widescreen settings. We can talk a little bit about that too. Maybe play around with that a little bit. Henry's saying, what would happen if your purchases if a K would fold? We don't know ultimately. I don't think there's no clear definitive answer to that question. The hope would be that, and this has been the case when other digital stores have folded, um, that the rights might transfer to another holder. So let's say like you have, and that's more based on like the studios wanting to like honor your purchases, more than anything specifically with like Kaleidescape or whatnot. But say, I would say best case scenario would be if you had a big library of content, it would transfer over to like Apple or Fandango or whoever and however like some kind of a deal would be cut. Um, that would be the best case. The worst case is that you would lose it, or those purchases wouldn't be honored in any way. But given that the store is an interaction as much with Kaleidescape's a broker, but you're interacting with the studios. Really, the studios set the pricing. The studios control the content. The studios define the assets that Kaleidescape has to be able to put into the store. You're it would be hopeful. There's a good hope. I would think that they would stand by that. They would stand by those purchases, and people would be made whole. But we don't know. This doesn't bother me, to be honest. I think there's business risk for every business out there, and especially in tech, right? Any tech company can come and have their lunch eaten by somebody else, and in totality or in part in a certain product space or segment. Um, so I've gotten my value out of the stuff, and if Kaleidescape was no longer an option for me, I would just go back to Apple and like use my iTunes library and stuff like that. So I kind of almost hedge my bets a little bit, and I build an iTunes library and I build an Kaleidescape library. Well, to be quite honest, nowadays I don't really buy much at all on Apple anymore. Um, in a lot of ways, because my movie collection is so big, I'd probably say that I don't go out of my way to collect a lot. It's more just like when we're ready to watch something, if we don't own it, we'll buy it. And if it's available on Kaleidescape, I buy it there. It's more like I operate with a flow chart rather than anything else. If we want to watch something, we want to watch a movie, it's available on Kaleidescape, we watch it there. If we don't own it, we just buy it. If it's not available there, then it's either probably locked behind a streaming service, or it's just a piece of media that's not available there, and you need to come up with an alternative option to do it. So maybe that is iTunes. Buy it on iTunes and just stream it. I still have hardly ever gone to physical media um, in those situations, though. I would just pick the easy way out and take the quality hit and stream it instead. Yeah, but again, I think the company anyway is doing very well. Um, if you look at like the product launches, the stuff that's happened, the growth, the just everything that's been added over the last couple of years. I mean, they're doing a lot. Nobody else is doing anything close to what they're doing. So I think there's a lot more headwinds than there are. In fact, actually, even last week we were talking about. I had mentioned uh, looking at some news about how there's like a little bit of a resurgence um, in the home theater market for dedicated rooms and stuff like that. And one of the driving forces was like wanting to be able to access high fidelity content and whatnot. I ran the same search actually just prior to the stream tonight to see if there was basically my search is, hey, what's new in the audio video or home theater industry in the last week? And that same answer still came up again, that like these business reports have come out, and actually Kaleidescape was even named and cited in one of them. So it's a risk you take. I think there's a risk with anything, any digital platform. There's a risk with physical media that at some point in time, eventually, well, maybe it will, in what lifetime, I don't know, but discs are going to degrade. Will you be able to source a player to be able to play them? So but more so, will you be able to get new content? Is it going to be a distribution method that stays healthy and strong? Or is it going to continue to niche down in terms of availability, cost going up, consolidation, and accessibility, and all of that stuff? So everything has its kind of own unique bit of risk factor. All right, a couple other questions here. DJ Apache, ever use Macintosh Room Perfect software? I have not. I've never owned any Macintosh stuff, and I haven't really even really auditioned too much Mac stuff, just at like trade shows and stuff like that. So, sorry. So I don't have anything to really offer on that. Michael saying, yeah, Apple high quality may be the killer of anything. That's the thing, right? If and when it comes, that would definitely influence me. I mean, Apple streaming 100 megabit per second with lossless audio would be tremendous. But every year we wait for it, and every year so far it has yet to come. And I know there's a lot of people making assumptions that the pass-through news details that there may be something interesting behind it there, but time will tell. My hopes are not up, and I already made the video talking about that, and we chatted about that in the last couple of Monday streams as well. Let me hit this question. Do you understand what scenario benefits from the Apple widescreen settings? None. Well, almost none. I guess the only situation that would benefit would be, I suppose, if you have a lens, you have a projector, you have a lens, you don't have a video processor to do aspect ratio management, and you only really care about the Apple TV app. So that feature, and I'm still so overdue. I want to make one more video about that feature and kind of show how and why, like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work properly. Maybe we could even tinker. That's something we could even tinker around with, perhaps in a future live stream. I'm actually debating if there's a way to kind of show it off a little bit right now, just to see if anything's different or if anything's changed with tvOS 26. Actually, let's do one quick thing that we can sanity check, and let's say, did they actually do the ultra widescreen mode correctly? Because if they did, that would mean that the base UI, so one downside, even with Motion AI, you run your UI at 24 FPS, and it still is a little laggy. It's like real close to 60 FPS feel and look, but it's not 100%. But again, I have zero sync time with a projector, which is pretty insane. So we were going to go to video and audio. We were going to set this to, let's go to 37:1. Let's see what happens. Yep, no, it doesn't work. So now we're doubly squished, because both the Apple TV and now the Mad VR, I'm going through the Mad VR right here. The Mad VR is doing anamorphic processing. We can turn that off just to make sure, but I don't think we're going to see anything interestingly different. Let's see, anamorphic lens. No. Yep. Okay. So now we're back to proper aspect ratio, because the Apple TV is doing the work. But if I go, so here's the problem. I actually filmed the video that described this, but I want to make sure that I get it like fully kind of like technically accurate. And so I didn't actually, I want to remake it basically. We need to find a movie. Empire Strikes Back. Oh, wow. Stop. This is new, I believe. Let me see if I can move this camera back a little bit so that we can get more of the... Sorry, making everybody sick. I need to turn the continuity camera off. Here, maybe I can hold this. This is really interesting. I'm going to have to revisit this. So this screen, this menu view is actually wider. That has not happened before, to the best of my ability. Why it's not completely wide, I don't know. Let's go back in here one more time. But this menu is not wider. This is the main problem. Like, we want this menu to be wider. Let's go 239. Let's go back to here. Empire Strikes Back. I think we're just bugged. I think we got some bugs, folks. So yeah, I noticed this happened before when this feature was new. So like, that's rendering over to the left, and it's like in front of the other pane. Okay, and maybe false alarm. Something's not working right here. Let's just maybe try not to search. I think Amazing Spider-Man is a 240 to 241 movie. See what happens. Okay. No, you know what it is? That's the Mad VR. That's not anything with Apple. So yeah, as we go down, it changes. So the Mad VR is doing this. The Mad VR is seeing this as like, oh, I can stretch this and move it around. So this feature needs to be evaluated without the Mad VR in the mix. So in order to do that, I do have two HDMI runs set up, and I can basically do one as a Mad VR bypass. But this demonstrating this now isn't going to work very effectively, because it's not going to show the true thing, and to try to do that on the fly, it just won't end up coming off properly. But maybe in the future I'll set up to do this correct. So now we're ultra wide again, because now the lens is doing its thing, but we got to turn this back on in the Mad VR menu, and then we're back to the way things are supposed to be and the way things are supposed to look. Yeah, cool beans. I think this will be something that we have to look at in either a dedicated video or future live stream, and I'll get set up for it. But I think that could be a fun topic, actually, to kind of show off live and interactively. Yeah, and basically why that feature fails. So on the surface, it doesn't look like it was augmented at all. Actually, for tvOS 26. But the big holdout from the last time that I investigated that feature was the fact that it didn't work in any app except the Apple TV app. Every other app that I tried, every other app that I use and have loaded on my Apple TV, like it would suck the image down into, like, surrounded with 4 black bars. But then the Mad VR would actually zoom it all back up, and you'd almost feel like it was working like it was supposed to, but it didn't. That's not what truly should have been happening. The image would have been all screwed up just passing through a lens. It would have been using less resolution, and it wouldn't have been filling the screen properly. A couple other questions here. DJ Apache, currently have 2 PB16s, wondering if newer PB17s are worthwhile upgrade. So we talked about this, was that last week as well? I think there were some questions. And so I have my video out as of a couple weeks ago, where I had my basically my SB17 kind of unbox and review, and I shared some of the measurement curves and whatnot that I was getting out of the 17s in my room. So the statement that I can make is that in my room, I considered the 17s to be a pretty definitive upgrade from the 16s, both in terms of how they measure and how they sound. So I would imagine that the PBs are the same, but it's a hard question for me to like cleanly answer because it's not my money, right? It's your money. I don't know what else you may be considering upgrading in your system for the same dollars. So worthwhile is a tough calculus. I can say it was worthwhile for me to have swapped out the 17s for the 16s, or swapped out the 16s to bring in the 17s. I think they've been a considerable upgrade, and they measure much cleaner in the room. They just like they interact with the room modes less. My room is tough. It has some tough knolls, and these seem to interact with it more positively, overcoming the room, and then just delivering better performance on their own as well. Michael, do you see any benefit to an Apple TV hardware upgrade this year? Mainly arcade gaming, better decoding for streaming, maybe. Yeah, I think there's a couple of things they could do with the gaming for sure. Their Apple is serious. Let's say serious about the attempt to do more with gaming, and actually, that's one thing that we didn't see on here that was supposed to be part of tvOS 26 was the game app. So that must not be released yet. So that one's coming later as well. They bought I forget the name of the developer, but they bought the developer that does the Sneaky Sasquatch game. So which I think is technically Apple's first game studio. Now that they own that studio, own directly, that's making content. So I have positivity about the Apple TV, Apple like being a future strong game platform. We've played a variety of like Apple stuff in our house, Apple Arcade and whatnot, um, over the years. So I'm positive and interested to see what they do in the gaming front, and that's definitely a place where like more horsepower is a good thing. So that could be part of it. There's rumors about the Apple TV having a camera built in, which they're also continuing to add features and invest in the concept of like the Apple TV as your video hub, video conferencing hub, FaceTime hub. That's great for folks maybe that have the Apple TV sitting like they have it in all the press pictures, right? Like you have this living room where you have this TV, and then you have this cabinet or something, and then the Apple TV is the only thing sitting out on that cabinet right above it. But I think for a lot of us, our Apple TVs are behind the television, they're in racks, they're in cabinets. So I'm not going to use that camera anyway. And then TBD also, I think too, whatever this pass-through feature may be, if that actually blows up to be something interesting and very capable, and for whatever reason it requires new hardware, that could be a reason. The box already has HDMI 2.1, so from a general HDMI perspective, it has the connectivity to do that stuff, but does it need security chips or who knows what, some other kind of internals for the audio side of things? And I also wonder too, part and parcel with that, it would be awesome if the Apple TV were capable of outputting like the high fidelity Apple Music without having to go to an iPhone or an iPad, like USB DAC kind of setup. The Apple TV should be, in my opinion, completely capable of outputting via HDMI the highest fidelity content that you can get out of Apple Music. So why they haven't done that yet when it's already been 2 years now since the push into Atmos music and high fidelity Apple Music and all of that. It wasn't last year. I think it's been 2 years. But in any case, it's been a while. So why has that not been turned into an Apple TV feature if it's just software? That seems like it has to be a hardware limitation. So they could do that kind of stuff. I've seen some people make comments like, "Oh, they should go after Kaleidescape and like add storage and do high fidelity downloads and stuff like that." I don't see that happening. Um, yeah, actually, here's a comment here. Um, these Apple TV upcoming changes possibly point to movies and sound arrival 4K for Kaleidescape. Um, I absolutely don't. I don't personally. I don't see Apple building storage, a download solution and storage into an Apple TV. Like everything about Apple's services and everything is going cloud. I mean, just look at the TV app, right? The TV app is really meant. It's like a streaming hub, and your purchase library is it's at the bottom of the list, right? Home, Apple TV Plus, soccer, sports, well then the store, and then your library. I never say never. I mean, they can do anything. Could Apple do that? Sure. Um, the other thing that I see is like, over the years, they've eliminated spinning hard drives from almost everything or everything in their lineups. Nowadays, everything is solid state. And so, but you could get more storage into a smaller form factor or maybe a slightly bigger form factor Apple TV. So 100% they could do it, but it just doesn't, it feels like the wrong direction for for them to go. I think if they were going to do it, they should just go for high fidelity streaming. And again, we have no specific indication um, or no direct indication that anything that's been announced or data mined um, out of the tvOS 26 capabilities is directly paving the path to this. So I have the video about it on the channel. It's kind of already talking about pass through. Pass through doesn't doesn't imply lossless. It doesn't necessarily even imply that even just that it doesn't even necessarily have to imply that they'll do lossless audio output for ripped content like Infuse and Plex, let alone would they actually stream it. It doesn't say anything about video. Um, so I think we all wait. All we can do is wait and see. And when the features come, test them out and see what happens. But in the past, when fidelity was increased, so both for Apple Music going hi-fi, and many years ago now, when iTunes moved from there was like 720p, then it went to 1080p, and then it went to 4K. And they came out with the announcement that, hey, if you own the movie in 1080p and it was upgraded to 4K, you would get that upgrade for free. Like that was main stage. Um, that was main stage Apple press conference news. And so none of that stuff was mentioned in the WWDC keynote. So if they're going to do something big with quality, fidelity, and offering all this stuff, like I think it would have been front and center. Or devil's advocate, you could argue that the only reason that it was held back, that those announcements were held back, any of that news was held back, would be because they needed new hardware to accomplish it. New hardware wasn't ready, or they weren't ready to ship it yet. Then it's going to be in the fall, and so the news would accompany hardware in the fall. But again, I've been waiting 8 years, a solid 8 years or more, to see lossless audio. We've had lossless audio for a long time. We've had lossless audio since like the advent of Blu-ray and HD DVD. It's been almost 20 years, right? Was it 2006-ish or 2007? Yeah, no, 2006 was the PlayStation with the Blu-ray player, and then regular Blu-ray players were already out a little bit ahead of that. And so we're coming on 20 years for lossless audio, and they haven't done it yet. So I don't think we have any inclination to do anything other but wait and see what happens, and then make your technology decisions based on what is available today, what works today, and what's available today, and be happy with that. Otherwise, you sit on the fence and you don't get to enjoy stuff. So I'm I'm happy that I spent the last 8 years using my Kaleidescape rather than waiting for Apple to do something. Oh, hey, welcome, Hockey Player. Nice to see you. Hello, hello. Ooh, good question. Would you all pay extra for higher bit rate streaming content? I would. That would be something that I would pay extra for sure. Like if Netflix offered lossless audio and Disney Plus, I would pay, a couple more dollars a month or whatever that works out to yearly to get that. Um, in terms of purchased content, like if I don't know what the business model would be if I owned Star Wars on iTunes and my Apple TV, my Apple account, playing that on the TV app. If there was a surcharge to like upgrade to a hi-fi version of the movie, um, that would be interesting. Interesting calculus as well, especially if it was like a few dollars per movie, and then add that up over a couple thousand movies in a library. It starts to be a lot. Yeah, I can tell you streaming companies spend billions per year for their streaming point of presence systems. That's the friction for them today. Yeah, it's got to be crazy. Um, it's got to be crazy expensive to provide that stuff. Um, I'm sure even just like the downloads that Kaleidescape provides, there's a cost center to that. The internet and that bandwidth isn't free. None of it's free. So, and that's often what I've heard as well as a counterpoint to, like, we'll never get super high bit rate, fully lossless streaming, even though the Sony Bravia core stuff was starting to get up there. They didn't do lossless audio, but they were doing much higher video bit rates. So, but are they streaming to a customer base at the scale of Netflix or Disney Plus and stuff? No, it's a small, probably a small user community niche service. It was only initially even available on like PlayStation's, very limited access service. So doing things, large amounts of data to large amounts of people at scale has got to be tough and expensive. All right. Oh, we're at 6:02. I got to head out here in another couple minutes. If you have any last questions, feel free to pop them in. We'll kind of just do a rapid fire shoot through and we'll wrap it up here for today. Got to go eat dinner with the family and get the kids off to some activities this evening. Maddie Daddy 14. I'm able to get full Atmos music through my Samsung soundbar. Only works on titles encoded Atmos though. Atmos music. I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry. The Apple TV Music app shows it plays some songs in Atmos for me. Is that not lawless? Well, music is different. So, music is different than movies. One, you wouldn't get Atmos unless something is encoded for it. So, unless you were using like a Dolby Surround upmix mode or something on your receiver or your preamp. So, yeah, you're not going to get it unless it's encoded in it. But whether a song is in whether a song in Apple Music is in Atmos is a different different technicality than whether that song is in like the high bitrate, high frequency sampling. I think it can be one or the other or both. So you can have lossier Dolby Atmos, you can have or higher the hi-fi level Dolby Atmos. So you have to just look at the given title, and then depending on what you're using to play it, codecs and all of that stuff, it really just depends on what you may get. Yeah, so that's kind of it depends. Hamza saying I have a 5.1 KEF reference setup, so I'm more than fine with Infuse. Yeah, so in that case, the Atmos stuff doesn't matter to you. And even what they're doing right now, if you have a local RIP and you played it with Infuse, you'd get PCM output. The DTS Master Audio or the Dolby True HD would get decoded by Infuse losslessly to PCM, and you wouldn't be missing any quality. Some folks don't like that still. They don't like PCM output, but I think that's splitting hairs. Have you ever chatted with the devs? No, I haven't, but I'm probably overdue to like revisit the app. I think Infuse is a really, really great app platform, especially if you're an Apple ecosystem person. actually the review video that I did do a couple years ago now, really did really well on the channel. People really liked it. It resonated. So I'm probably overdue to kind of check in. I have it, but I just don't use it very much. Like, again, if something's available on Kaleidescape, that's where I watch it. And what I have in my Infuse library is very, very little nowadays. It's really just relegated to stuff that isn't readily available somewhere else, basically. That was available on physical media, and if I didn't have it, rip it, kept it, and it would have been kind of lost to time. More than movies, even. It's like old cartoons and stuff from the 80s, things that I like. And even some of that has come back to iTunes and whatnot. He-Man and Masters of the Universe, but like some Transformers. I'm just looking at my Infuse here in the background. Some Transformers cartoons from Japan that never aired here, like stuff like that. That's all that I really keep in my Infuse. Some anime and some other things like that that are hard to get. But I was actually going to look at my server, my Synology, as I was starting to kind of actually wind down how much I'm using my Synology for. Um, and I think I can actually delete some more content that's on my NAS that I just don't use there. That's available somewhere else. Oh, cool! Super chat. Thanks, Hockey Player. Give Jeremy a cup of Java. Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. How do you like being? Yeah, Ubiquity is nice. Oh, I could have pulled that up actually. Maybe that's something we can play around with in a future live stream as well. Reflect on a little bit more. I'll put a note in here, like future topic list. Ubiquity. I have not given Ubiquity its due on the channel, but I quite love it. Yeah, Dave, Ubiquity is terrific. Newest firmware brings them to enterprise grade. I can say I love the cameras. When we were out in Western Michigan just this past weekend again, it's like, oh yeah, did the cat sitter come? Did we get a message? Did you get a pop up from the alarm company? It's like, you know what? I don't remember seeing the text disablement. But hey, I'll just pull up the I forget what it's called now. The Protect app, and let's look at our detections. Yeah, Protect app. Right. Let's look at the detections on our cameras, and it's like, oh yeah, there she is. She came in at whatever 4:30, and she left at 5. So, and then while we were gone, being able to just sweep through the cameras, take a look around the house. Was there any any folks that shouldn't have been hanging around the house? Love it. So I'm really digging on all the Ubiquity stuff. I just haven't given it anywhere close to its due in terms of content and coverage, just due to time. And it's another thing. Stuff like that is like, it's really hard to film and make content about all that stuff, because it's like, it's your everyday use stuff, and then it's also private, so you got to like obscure certain things. And yeah, so it's just a tough nut. All right, last couple comments, and we'll call it a day here. Maddie Daddy. Okay, so when I play a song in Apple Music and the display clicks on and says Dolby Atmos, it is just a lossy format Atmos. Yeah, I just turn this off. Maybe we can revisit some Apple Music stuff next time. But if I look at here, let me look on my Mac. If I go into Apple Music and what's a good Atmos one? Sgt. Pepper's album, the remix. Let me click on this. Here, I think I can share this. Let's do this really quick. Share screen, allow, window, music, share. Okay, so look right here. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Remix, Rock 1967. There's Dolby Atmos and high-res lossless, right? There are two separate tags. I don't know if there's a way to just see made for spatial music. Let's see. Nowadays, I think a lot of Oh wait, I don't want to see it in the store. I just want to see the album. Come on, can't go back. Nowadays, a lot of more. Why is this doing this? I want to go to. Just show me the album. Playlist, play next, create station. That's weird. Why can't I? Why can't I just get to? Like, this is lame. I want to be able to just go to the album, not to the. Because this doesn't show us. Oh, here, can I do this? No. Yeah, it's not taking me to where it's not giving me the view that I want to go to. But look for those tags anyway. That's what I was trying to get to. Look for those tags. You should see Atmos and you should see hi-fi lossless. And if you don't see both of those, then it's not both. Otherwise, it would be, I guess it would be a lossy Dolby Atmos, some kind of other like encoding. But I think there's a high correspondence of hi-fi and Dolby Atmos being together. But again, they're separate tags. All right, last couple of questions. I gotta go. Dinner's ready, and my kiddo's got stuff to do. What's the most comfortable HT chair you sat in? Oh, geez. I like the one I'm sitting in right now, so I'll be a shill for audio advice and say that the Revelations are really great seats. I've sat in a variety of Valencias, and I think they've been okay. I feel like Valencia is one of those seats, though, that the people that own them, I hear like complaints, like long-term ownership complaints about them, rather than like joy about them. Whereas I know I've had these seats for coming up on 2 years, at least a year and a half, thereabouts, more than a year and a half, and they're awesome. They're holding up really well. No technical issues across all 5 of them. The only other seats that I've really paid much attention to, also at shows, has been the row ones. I like those as well, but I can't give these Revelations more of a thumbs up. Illusions. Geez. So we just already kind of talked about this. When it comes to streaming, would Kaleidescape be the ideal streaming choice for a home theater? So Kaleidescape is not streaming. One. Kaleidescape is not streaming. It's a download service, but it is the highest fidelity source that you can get for your home theater. Generally equivalent-ish, if not usually better than disc. If you want to talk about this, we can talk about this offline. Feel free to reach out and I can kind of explain the platform and we can go over it. I'm a dealer for them, of course. Jeremy at Techthusiasm.net. You can get to my contact info through the channel or again any of the videos. Oh, one more super chat. Hi Finest 343. Thank you very much. Any tips on where we can get a 97-inch LG OLED for a good price? July 4th sale around the corner. Eyeing up anything. So I'm still very inclined to want the 97-inch G5 as my living room TV, but if the project actually goes forward, when the project actually goes forward, I have to do my due diligence to cross shop stuff. But one of the big factors for me that will matter a lot, that doesn't necessarily matter for other folks, is the thickness of the television. I really need the fact that like the G series is like a 1-inch deep television is huge for the way that my bump out is already framed, and I'm not framing it any deeper in the changes that we're going to make. I'm only looking to open the inset up to fit the bigger screen, and with a little bit of adjustment, we can get the 97 in. But the G2 that's in there right now, with its thickness is like so ideal, because like some of these TCLs and Sonys, they're like 3-4 inches deep or whatever, and that would be ugly in my room, because it would just be like, it'd be like sponging out of the inset, and it wouldn't have the right kind of presentation. In terms of price, looks like the G5 is still pretty much at MAP, which is well, a whopping 25 grand, which is unfortunately going to be a big part of the calculus as well, because you can get some really good large TVs for so much less than that. Yeah, 25 grand. I can't access LG as a dealer. If you're shopping one and you're thinking about it, I would love to be the one to get it for you, but I'm not aware of any sales, at least in effect right now. See if any. July 4th, I don't think is a really big TV sale weekend. I think mostly it's going to be waiting out until like Black Friday before prices maybe start to change in any significant fashion. But I'm looking at, actually, my one distributor, they send a weekly like TV price list. So that's what I was just opening up in the background here, and there's no indication of LG sales or price changes, anything like that. All right, I gotta wrap this up. All right, Dave, got a Kaleidescape. Yeah, authorized you. You'll love it. Yep, you'll love it. The only thing, the thing that people generally say about Kaleidescape, like I'd say 99% of the time, is they should have just bought it earlier. I've spoken to a lot of people, and that have sat on the fence about it, and they get it and they really like it, and they're like, geez, why did I wait? Maddie, can you source the Revolution seats for us? Not directly, no. It's AudioVice's specific product, but what you could do if you wanted to help me and whatnot would be to go to Audio Advice to get them. I have a contact there, business partner of mine, or Audio Advice is a business partner of mine. I really appreciate them. They liked my content and wanted to work with me when the channel was very young and very early. So I'll put that in the comments there. Call them. That's their general number. Ask for Michael Glenn, and tell them that you came through Techthusiasm and you're interested in potentially working up something, or, learning about those chairs and whatnot. And that would be awesome. I love them. I have like zero desire, interest, or whatever to change chairs. And again, 18 months later, nothing's split, nothing's cracked. They're supple. They're soft. So no complaints whatsoever. Yeah, get the K, you won't regret it. Michael, LG's having sales on their CG4 series right now. Didn't see the 97 in there. There wasn't a 97, or was there a 4? I don't remember. Oh, maybe there was. One of the years I feel like they skipped the 97, or like the 97 was like an every other year model, but maybe there was a 4 and now there was a 5. But it's at some point in these recent years, they're changed from the 97 being an every other year to being an every year product. Have you seen the 98 Q990F? I have not. Also seen the 100-inch Hisense RGB. It's coming out. There's so many. There's like so many large format TVs. Like 100-inch is the new 83 in the TV market. It's pretty wild. And some of them are like crazy in like, sub $5,000 prices on some of these sets. It's just insane what you can get. K-Scape for an 83-inch OLED. I use or have used my Kaleidescape on my 83-inch OLED, and would still, yes, I would say so, yes. Because if you don't do Kaleidescape, you're still doing one of two things. You're streaming everything, and even if you're 83-inch OLED, like that's your home theater setup, you probably have speakers, you probably have surround sound, you've built up a nice system. In an 83-inch OLED G series, or like the Sony, whatever, the A90L or whatever letter they're on nowadays, those are great televisions. They're very high quality displays, and I think that the Kaleidescape will really pop on there. And you'll get the lossless audio for your audio system. So if you don't do that, what are you going to do? You're going to do discs, and then you're going to rip, which again, we've already talked about that today. I don't recommend it. wouldn't get into ripping nowadays. And I don't want to mess with discs anymore. Anyway, I don't want to store physical media. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to own it. I don't want to load it. I don't want to wait for it. And I'm certainly not investing my time to rip it again, or I'm going to stream. So you want high fidelity content? It's just, and especially now we have like the E. It's such an easy one. Right, I gotta log off here. How difficult would surround front speakers be to set up? Oh, I have no surround front speakers. You mean wides? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I'm sorry. Problem with the micro LED screen. So you can't do acoustically transparent. That's one of the reasons I think front projection will still win in home theater for a long time, is putting the speakers behind the screen is just magical for the experience. When you can't put your speakers behind the screen, you got to put them around it. So Srin, good afternoon. Cool. Coming Audio Device. I'll see you there. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm all set, booked. I'll be there for the duration of the show. And last comment, thanks, by the way, there's a 97-inch G5, G4, still says, yeah, there is a G5 for sure. I was just thinking for some reason that there wasn't a G4. I think the G4 was the generation that I thought was going to be skipped, but I don't remember for sure. But they are, as far as I know, I can get these. Like they're readily available. Even if we go to like, yeah, Best Buy shows them in stock. LG Electronics Direct is out of stock. Interesting. Best Buy. Come on, load. Yeah, add to cart. Delivery July 7th. Pick up as soon as tomorrow. So yeah, these are available. LG Direct out of stock. BH Photo. It just depends where you can get them. I can get them. If anybody shopping these sets, like big format sets, you want like TCL too, I can get the TCLs now. You want a 115-inch TCL, reach out. We talk about it. 97 has no MLA. I'm not sure, honestly. I haven't looked into the details of it yet. With or without that, I just want the size. So I would not buy it nor not buy it because of that. But I would think even now, probably this year at that size, I'd be hopeful that it got it. Cool. All right. I need to get upstairs and get re-engaged with the family. I appreciate everybody coming out, hanging out. It's a fun time. Very minimal check into the current state of tvOS 26, liquid glass, and not a whole lot more. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting year for tech, and there's still a whole lot of year ahead. Still the second half to come. We got CEDIA still, probably some news announcements, new products to come. Again, Audio Device Live coming up. We got the full. What is all this new Apple software going to hold, especially the Apple TV? We might still see the new Apple TV device later this year. Always a chance. But yeah, good stuff, fun stuff. All right, we'll line it up. Hopefully, again, this time is working for me pretty well. I really do need to hold it to an hour, but 5 o'clock Monday. Hopefully, we'll be back next week. All good. And I don't know what the next content will be. I need to make some stuff. I've been gone, but I have some video ideas, so stay tuned and definitely leave some comments, engage, reach out. And if anybody wants to talk about anything offline, one-on-one, systems, whatever, upgrades, consulting, I can help you. Again, Jeremy at techthusiasm.net, or go to the webpage, www.techthusiasm.net. Details are there, contact form, and all of that. Thanks for coming back for more home theater discussion and fun. Thanks.